Hey guys, Daz here from Total Reformation. Now on today's video blog, what we're going to take you through is how to activate the transverse abdominis, in particular the lower fibers of the transverse abdominis. Now for those who don't know what the TVA or transverse abdominis is, it's a muscle that wraps around us like a big belt. You probably see a lot of bodybuilders having those big belts. We have one of our own, and the idea of that transverse abdominis is to support the core and to make sure that the spine is protected. Most common cue that you'll hear from a lot of practitioners or trainers is draw your belly button in, which is fantastic. It's a really good cue. But what most people only experience or only feel when you do that is just the mid fibers activate. So if you, for example, right now draw your belly button in towards the spine, suck it in, you will only feel sort of this section working. What we want to be able to feel is the belly button below, all these deep lower fibers, which are ones that kind of don't get focused on a lot and get neglected, but one of the most important areas to focus on, even just with walking, gait. And then when it comes to big dynamic movements and just training in the gym, you need to have that firing to protect yourself. So what we can do to help you feel those lower fibers actually fire is try this. Draw your belly button in, and then if you just lean backwards, all of a sudden you'll feel all the lower fibers start to activate a little bit more. And that's just the first little aha moment for a lot of people to go, oh, I can actually feel that finally. Belly button in and try and get a little bit of a stretch. So what we can do is I can show you an exercise today that's actually going to help you. It's almost like a gait exercise or learning to walk basically, but we're going to focus on belly button below. So what we need to do is create that stretch somehow. So you can use a door frame at home. If you're in a gym setting, what we can do is just use a bar or something. So what I'm going to do is jump up, we grab on. Now the idea is we don't want to be holding on for dear life. It's just a gentle hook because we've got to try and relax the whole upper body, in particular the diaphragm as well. And what we're going to do, the first phase of this movement is actually just fall backwards into the arms. So we're creating a bit of a falling backwards, a bit of a hinge in the hip. So when you're back in that position there, we can feel the stretch right up through. Now, the other good thing about doing this stretch is you might notice how tight you are through the lats, through the chest, and a whole lot of other areas, which actually throws our posture out as well and makes all of our movements a little bit more tricky, can lead to a lot of injuries too. So what we do first of all is we get people just to fall back into it, draw that belly button in, and from that position, depending on the person, most people have a bit of a sway back. We get them just to do a slight tuck of the tail. So basically meaning just slightly tuck under. So we're flattening out just a little bit through the lower spine. So that position there is going to set us up. Now being there, when you draw your belly button in, you should feel all the fibers down and below the belly button start to activate and start to hold on. Now they're the lower fibers, they're the ones that we need through gait. So the first test, what we get everyone to do is we fall back, tummy in, pelvic floor on. Don't forget pelvic floor and TVA are all part of the same neural loop, so they need to fire together. Tummy in, tuck the tail under, and all we're going to do is focus on breathing through our nose. We're going to take deep, deep breaths, but I want you to feel your rib cage and actually feel the back of the ribs flare out while holding the belly button in. So you might need to close your eyes and really focus on this, because what happens is the tendency is we want to take deep diaphragmatic breaths, which is awesome for relaxation, but for this we're trying to actually activate through here while relaxing up here. So see if you can just fall back, tummy in, deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose, while keeping this in and on. Now when you do those deep breaths, you may notice how tight you are in certain areas around the body, especially up top in the thoracic area. And so this is a good little test. People go, oh, that hurts almost to be able to breathe that deep. And that sort of helps me show them how tight they are through that thoracic area. And that's part of their homework, is to get as much mobility through it. So that's our first step. Just if you just practice that, aim for about 12 breaths, basically deep breaths, but really focus on keeping this in and on while relaxing and feeling the rib cage expand and compress at the same time after that. So tummy in, belly button, and below, deep breaths. So once you've mastered that, and that can take a little bit of time because it is a little bit of, it's like learning to walk basically. You're trying to build in a new motor unit in the brain. So the next phase, we want to actually start to get the legs moving now. This is like mimicking a gait or mimicking walk, which is so important. So belly button in, fall back, tail under. And what we're going to do is, as you breathe out through the nose, what we're going to try and do is just lift gently the leg. You can keep it straight at this point, just let the foot relax. Try not to dorsiflex the foot, as in pull it backwards, just keep it relaxed. But I want you to imagine that the belly button's in and up, and that's what's lifting the leg. Now when you do this right, you will feel it. You will feel all these lower fibers activate, and that's what we want. So tummy in, as you breathe out, gentle lift. Other side. Out. So it's very subtle. It's such a subtle exercise, but you will notice how much that lower TVA and the lower abdominal area have to fire to get that gait action happening. If you can't experience it, it's something that we need to go in and just do a couple other things with you, and that's what we do with a lot of our clients when they first come in to see us. The next phase from there is actually start to change the angle of the leg. So basically, as you breathe out, you can actually start to take the leg sideways. So we're really challenging the whole pelvic area to be nice and stable. And then the next phase from there is to try and bend the knee up, and then the same deal. You want to try and hit all different angles, all with breath, but all keeping this in and on. And the big goal is actually get a little bit of extension in the leg too, meaning taking it behind you. But that's down the track a little bit. The first phase is just all about, can I hold this on? Can I keep it relaxed and controlled while breathing? So that's an awesome exercise to start to learn how to fire the lower TVA. Very, very important, as I said, for walking, running, and a lot of movements in the gym. And most people have never experienced that firing before. So see how you go with that. Take your time with it. If you have any questions, make sure you let us know. If you ever come into one of our classes, we usually finish our class with a whole lot of this focused lower abdominal, lower TVA core exercises. So it's a lot of fun. Have any questions, shoot them through, and we look forward to seeing you on our next video blog.